Hey everyone, we wanted to be able to show you our fantastic Color Alchemist kit. And this is the ultimate kit when it comes to DIY color play using the Chameleon pens. Now, as you know, a Chameleon pen allows you to adjust the color tone of the ink. So essentially you can adjust and hack your pen color as it is. You're never stuck with one flat color. So here I fused my Chameleon pen, and now I can get that lighter hint of a tint into a mid-tone, into the darker tones, back to the pure rich tone color of that ink. And that was a darker green. I can keep going, but you can see you can actually adjust the color tone of the ink. But now, with the Color Alchemist kit, what we're going to do is let you custom make your own color. So it's like the ultimate hack. And then you can go up and down the tonal scale of that. Now, a little bit about what's in this kit. When you initially put this together, and by the way, this is a Kickstarter exclusive kit. That means that as of October 30th at 5 o'clock, that's a Friday, this Friday, Pacific Coast time, this kit will no longer be available. It is exclusive to Kickstarter. So if you want to be able to get in on this, the Color Alchemist kit, you got to go to Kickstarter and back that reward. So this kit, essentially what it has in it is it has the cyan, magenta, and yellow inks. It has an empty bottle, which will allow you to mix your inks inside, and then it has an empty Chameleon pen. Now, this is a prototype. There's no actual wrap around it, but of course that's because this is all work in progress. But your pen, when you get it home, will have a nice, pretty wrap around it, just like our other colors of Chameleon pens. A little bit different because this is going to be your own color you're going to create. Now, your pen will be empty when it comes, and we'll show you how to be able to fill it. But one thing we want to tell you we did decide to do, after playing with this a little bit, is we decided to add something. This is a bonus. It's not shown on our regular rewards, but we want to let you know we're adding it. And that is a bottle of the colorless blender. And the reason why we're adding this is it allows you to do even more with these three colors. When you have this blue, it's always going to be at least this dark as you start to mix it with other colors. So this allows you to lighten that up so you can go up and down the tonal scale of light or darkness inside of this ink color. So this is going to now be added to your kit. Again, you get the pen, and you're also getting a set of tweezers too, and we'll show you how to use those. Now, every single ink refill comes with its own little ink injector, and when you get this out of the kit, you will just put it together like this. And this way you don't get any color contamination as you're working with it. So that's all that's inside your kit now, and this is the Color Alchemist kit that you're going to be backing. So let me show you a little bit how you can use this. That's what you're getting, but we do suggest, of course, a few extra things to be able to make it a little bit easier while you're mixing and making your own DIY hack of a color. So one thing I do suggest is getting yourself some Q-tips. That's always a good thing because I like to play around and test different colors and before I'm going to make my final color that I'm going to store in here. I also suggest possibly Dixie cups or little small little drinking disposable cups. Here we did our own little ones by cutting the top of a coffee cup off. So we have a couple of these that we use to be able to custom blend some inks to find the color that we want. And of course, you want to be able to cover your surface so that it's protected with a little bit of paper towel. And for those of you who may have them hanging around at home, I do suggest rubber gloves because remember, this is permanent ink that's inside there. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to play and just going to show you how to custom create your own chameleon color. Now, the color I've kind of decided to choose to make is going to be, well, I'm going to show you how I'm going to morph it, but I'm going to kind of make a bit of an orange, and then I'm going to morph it kind of probably more of a coral. One thing that you might find helpful, and I'll see if I can put a link to one that's online, is to have a color wheel, and that'll help you understand a little bit about, hey, what happens when I add yellow to orange, and I get this? What happens if I add, let's see here, blue to orange? And what happens if I add blue to red? So this will kind of give you an idea of what colors that might come out. So if you're all new to color mixing, you might want to take a look at that. And again, I'll find a link and put that in the resource area for you on this page. But again, experimenting this way is a great way to be able to play a little bit. So start light and just sort of mark down what colors that you're going to use. Here what I'm going to do is I'm using the magenta. You know what you have to love about these inkwell bottles is they're really low to the ground, so you don't ever knock them over. So here I'm just going to just pull a little bit of color out of there. You don't need a lot. And I'm just going to put a couple of drops of those color in here because I'm just doing this to test. I'm just going to squeeze that out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I'm actually going to add just a little bit more to play with here because I'm going to really morph this around a little bit to show you. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that. Now I'm only going to add a tiny bit of yellow. So let's do this. Let's just test off a little bit to here where we can be able to see this is the pure magenta color that's coming out. Again, that's why I love the Q-tips, is it just allows me to just test that off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little drop of yellow in there. Not a lot. So just be careful when you're doing that. Just a little drop. There we go. So mixing that around a little bit, and let's just see how we adjusted that color. So I'm going to use the other end of my Q-tip. So look at that. So that actually went into a red color. So mixing those two together, I add yellow to the magenta, and boom, I got red. So now that I've created this red, I could say, all right, I got a red. What do I want to do to morph that red? Well, what happens if I add a little bit more yellow to that? So let me do that, because I'm suspecting I'm going to get orange. So add a little bit more yellow to that. Mixing that around a little bit. I'm going to get myself a fresh Q-tip. So you can see where this color play is just so much fun. Ultimately, okay, so that's just a little bit lighter. So that's more of an orangey red. So I'm going to add even more yellow to that. And I really do suggest to take some notes, just how many maybe drops that you're adding to this, or little squirts. And each little addition will give you a slightly different color. So let's see what we got here. So from here, we added a little bit of yellow, and we're getting a little lighter. So adjusting that color tone there. And remember, when we put this in the pen, we'll have the ability to go up and down that tonal scale, which makes it even more fun. So you can keep manipulating and adding color. Now, another thing you can do if you want to lighten this a little bit is you can add yourself a little bit of toning medium. So this is kind of neat. So we can really have a lot of fun with color play, adjusting it up and down the tonal scale when it's actually in the pen, but also when we're custom creating color. So I'm going to take a little bit of this colorless toning medium, and I'm going to add the colorless toning medium to here. And I'm just going to mix that around a little bit. And let's see what we get from that. Again, I just feel like such a color alchemist here. Okay, so that one is just a little bit lighter. I'm going to add a tiny bit more yellow to it. And let's just play around with that and see what we get. So I haven't even included the blue yet, so we can, all the permutations of red, yellow, now that I've created the red from the magenta, the red, yellow, and the blue can be really interesting. Of course, you don't want to throw them all in together because then you're going to get brown. Okay, so that's neat. That actually is turning now from that original red into a nice orange that I'm creating. That's a really interesting rich orange. So you can just have a blast of colors just using the inks. And also in the newsletter that we have this month, we have a whole mix of, hey, how you can be able to mix and match and do whole new things just using the ink refills on their own. So there's things like color pouncing, smooshing, that sort of stuff, spraying the inks. So you don't always have to put the inks in the pen. And then lastly, I just wanted to show you what happens if you just take the pure color. This is kind of neat. What we did was we took the pure color and we just added the fuchsia and we added toning medium to that, a fair amount of toning medium. So you get this really cool light pink color. So playing around, doing mixing and matching these little bottles, little disposable containers. And then when you get the color that you like, you can go and now put it inside your pen. So how do you do that? What you want to do is you want to go in from the bullet side of your pen and you want to be able to use your tweezers that you get in the set, and you want to be able to remove that bullet nib. And this is also covered in the refilling of your pens. The inside of your pen will already be a Transorb that's empty, and what you're going to do is you're going to take the ink, the color that you want, you're going to draw that ink color up, so you would be pulling it up into your little injector. And again, this might be something that you want to store inside of your mixing chamber, or your empty bottle. You may want to save that for another color you make. But if you decide to put this inside the pen, at this point, all you're going to do is just take this and you're just going to put it inside your pen and you're going to give it a squeeze. And that'll actually inject the ink right down inside of your pen. And then you're going to go back and replace that nib, and you're all set to go. You have now custom created your own ink color. So just turn that upside down, let it filter down to the nib, and away you go. Remember, every nib is replaceable. So if you want to replace the bullet, or you want to be able to replace the brush nib, you can do that. So that's how you use the Color Alchemist kit. Remember, all these inks that you've got here, you can keep creating interesting things with it, and take a look at how you can use your ink refills to do so much more than just refill your marker pen. They're a great art resource if you do any mixed media, if you want to be able to use it for washing like watercoloring. There are so many things you can do with it. Check that out in our newsletter.